On your feet! Get them going!
Oh, sorry. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike Esmond, not a pastor, priest, rabbi, theologian, or particularly well-educated fellow. Just a guy on the internet talking about Bible stuff. Apologizing for, well, not apologizing. Doing apologetics. I'll do some apologetics if you want me apologetics. All apologetics all over the place. But can't post comments to some destinations. What? What's wrong with is my hold on, let me check my Twitter. Is something going on with my Twitter where it's not sharing on my Twitter? Oh, no, I'm on there. Hey, if you're on the Twitter, please join us over on YouTube. There's more people on YouTube chatting, so you can join us there and it won't be weird. Why ad blocking? Cookies collect your data. Block cookies now. Gosh, I don't want you. Just go away. All right, I don't know why that's not working, but technology. Am I right? Welcome, Tina and Devil's Air and Wrangler. Whole lot and stuff. My mother turned 50 this past Tuesday. She is a Sarah now. She's just a young kid with a dream, Devil's Air. A dream that you'll do something with your life, young man. Wait a second. I thought you were like 16. Aren't you like 16 or 17? Your mom had you late, huh? Well, oh, no, I guess not. Never mind. That's about right. That's about right. I mean, in relation to like my wife having kids. Oh, you're 24. Oh, she did not have you young. I mean, late. I haven't had my coffee yet. Cut me some slack. Today's episode of Cross Examinations: What atheists fear most? And I actually did ask Grok this for funsies, but I kind of wanted to get into something. Something kind of stumped me yesterday in reading Job 38. Oh, also we're doing Job 39 today. And yes, I now have Grok cross-referencing the Septuagint for any questionable translation or difficult, anytime there's something that's questionable or what's another word, difficult or controversial, maybe in the Hebrew, I have it checking against the Septuagint for best possible translation. So, what's up, Arlene? Just dropping in to say hi. Can't be in chat today. Oh, okay. Brooklyn Lou, for real, I am atheist and have no fears. I worked on overcoming fear a long time ago. Okay, Brooklyn Lou. No fears. I'm afraid of the ocean. Like I'm not a great swimmer. So it's like I go to I couldn't imagine like being in the ocean. I don't know, it's just so huge and deep and there's things in there that will kill you. I mean, it's not an irrational fear of the ocean, I would say. I think it's fairly rational fear of the ocean. Fear as in I'm smart enough not to get out of the boat in the middle of the ocean for no good reason. Say I'm in the like I'll go, on a day boat and go fishing out in the ocean, but I think that's a pretty rational fear, right? I have a fear of heights, not not a pathological fear of heights. I don't have vertigo or anything, but to the point where I'm not going to go do something stupid if I'm out on a building or whatever. And I don't like get freak out if I look out of a window on the 50th floor or anything like that. But just like a sense of like, I'm not going to go play. I'm not going to go cliff jumping or I don't think I would ever skydive just because it seems like an unnecessary risk. I heard of a skydiving instructor who died skydiving. Now, you might just say, well, hey, if you're an instructor, that means you're skydiving so many times that, you know, if you're going to be one of the statistics, it's likely that the guy that skydives the most is going to be one of the skydiving statistics. But I don't see it that way. I see it as if you're a skydiving instructor, you should know how to do every single thing to make sure you are the safest possible person jumping out of an aeroplane. And this guy died skydiving. I think I'll pass. I think I will definitely pass that. Oh, tight spaces. Okay, I'm not generally claustrophobic. Yeah, but like I see those guys like spelunking and stuff. No freaking way. I'm like that. That freaks me out. Thank you for bringing that up, Tina. Yeah, that's a legit. And also, yes, if I had to choose skydiving or cave diving, I'll skydive. Put a gun to my head. You have to do one or the other. I'm jumping out of a plane rather than jumping into some hole where I can only move like this. Oh my gosh, my heart would explode. Devil's Air says King's Day is celebrating this weekend in the Netherlands, so will be fun having some beers this weekend. It's nice to know that Brooklyn Lou, however, has zero fears, and he has overcome all fear long, long ago. That's not going to stop me from reading the list that Croc provided me for what atheists fear most. I get startled and I do not like pain. Fear is an unpleasant emotion. I eliminate it and think rationally as much as possible. Okay, so would you go spelunking into a hole that's barely as large as your body and you'd feel just fine in that? I mean, you might be one of those people. I know of one of the pastors at my church is one of those freaking people. But no. If you have no God, you have less fear after death. You'll have less fear after. What? Chuck Hewer says, yeah, my wife isn't currently dating a skydiver. I wasn't going to bring up who the skydiver was in relation to people and known quantities here in the space. Boy. Speaking of, boy, it's been really good being out of that time suck space that I used to spend way too much time just enjoying. My Schadenfreude cup was running over, and just ignoring it is freeing me up to do much more productive things. So should I just get into it? Should I? No, I think rationally. I try and not do stupid things. Fear is an emotion that shuts down proper thinking. Okay, so I'm just trying to think of that. It's like, so you'd just be stuck in that. If you were stuck, say you were spelunking and you were just stuck, like, and you couldn't move anymore because you wiggled your way into a crevice and that was almost the size of your body, and you get stuck and you couldn't move and nobody could pull you out and nobody could pull you back in, or you're there by yourself, you would just try and think rationally. Just say you find yourself into a situation like that for some reason. I know you try and not do stupid things, but just say, or say you got into a car accident and you're in the same situation. You're not hurt, but you're out in the woods. You drove into a tree in the woods and your car has crushed you to the point where you literally cannot move. You're just going to sit there and think rationally and be like, I will not be emotional. It will shut down my proper thinking. And meanwhile, you literally can't do anything because you can't. All of your limbs are completely pinned to your body. Of course, panic does nothing to help a situation. But you'd have no fear, right? You would have completely be overcome from fear. You have become a robot, incapable of the emotion of fear. You have overcome it by the power of your will. Okay, dude. Now I know you're full of crap. Mike, you have come to a conclusion on the project you were thinking of starting. Have you come to a conclusion on the project? Boy, there's so many. That is a broad question for me. I don't even remember which one you're talking about right now. Tina says the thought of dying and there being just nothing afterward is more scary to me and depressing, really. I don't think that's scary. It would be depressing. It would be very depressing. But not scary. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe we should quantify exactly what fear is. I think Brooklyn Lou's using some good words. It's panic is one thing. Panicking is certainly not. Panic is like fear mixed with adrenaline, right? Oh, drawing classes. Oh, that. Yeah, I haven't put any thought into that recently. I have not thought of that recently. Right. So you have to have the fear, right? Fear is, I mean, just being afraid of, is it, could you, I guess fear is like sort of, golly, how do you quantify fear? Now I've stuck myself in a sort of a sticky wicket here. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Fear is an emotional and physiological response to a perceived threat or danger, characterized by heightened alertness, physical reactions, increased heart rate, sweating, and behavioral impulses, freezing, fleeing, or fighting. It originates from the brain, primarily in the amygdala, and prepares the body to address potential harm. Fear can vary in intensity from mild unease to intense panic, and is shaped by context, personal experiences, and individual differences. Well, I'm glad Lou has managed to overcome his physiological reality and controls his amygdala. I just think it's such a silly, I have no fear. I have overcome fear. Fear no longer exists in my life. It's such a weird thing to say, Lou, honestly. That someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause or a threat. Yeah, how you deal with fear is different. I don't think it's possible for one to simply overcome fear. How you deal with fear is how one is something you can overcome. You can overcome the panic response of fear. That, if that's what you're saying, Lou, then I'll stop making fun of your very odd way of putting what you said. It's the one you were praying about, something that would help spread the gospel, further the kingdom. Sorry, not sure how you would phrase it. Um, I should write these things down because that's what I'm always doing. That's what I'm always trying to figure out. Also, yeah, like I don't know how to. I'm praying that I can get afar published out there somehow or another, to a degree that it's not just some one and done thing. I want it to be out there, like broadly spreading the gospel. Fear is a natural human emotion like jealousy. It can be controlled, not like a person is incapable of it. Okay, let me read that again. Fear is an emotional and physiological response to a perceived threat or danger. So you've overcome your physiology. Why do I keep like noping out on this? Oh, because I'm in a smaller window. I'm like, how do I keep disappearing from the screen? Sorry, not trying to derail you. I prayed that God would help you in the matter. Well, keep praying for me because I just need to know what to do. That's my big thing. What do I do? What does God want me to do? I think if you're trained or prepared for a situation, then yes, you can control emotion. Example, first responders. And there's also a thing, I mean, people are different in different circumstances. Like my wife is afraid of like blood and bloody stuff and that kind of stuff. Uh, overcoming fear. If the sociopath can do it, we can too. That's true. That's true. But like, it's like different people have different reactions, and that's emotional and physiological. Like if you throw up, that's not an emotional reaction. That's a physiological reaction. But like some people, like me, when there is high pressure panic health situations, like somebody breaks an arm, somebody cuts a whatever, I go into I get very stoic in those moments. Like, what has to be done? How do we mitigate the pain? Fix the thing? How do I take care of this? I go into, I don't know, maybe it's like that's how EMTs are, maybe, but that's I would think that's just how guys are, but I don't know if that's how all guys are. I don't think that's probably how all guys are. But me, that's my, I just go, I'm like, let's fix this now. We don't have, there's no panic, no stress. Just do what has to be done. And it's funny because I saw a doctor bring a baby back to life. And he was the most stoic dude like ever. He's just like, he's got this little baby, brings it on the table. He's just very, doesn't even have an emotion on his face. He's just going through these things and pumping the little thing and doing the little thing and just massaging the heart and just pumping the little thing, rubbing the baby, just super, super, just stoic, nothing. And the baby's dead. It's just a dead baby on the table. And he's just doing the thing for like, I think the video is like 2 or 3 minutes long. He's just doing it. And finally you see some color coming back into the baby's hand, and his little hand just moves. And because he's blue, the baby's blue, and he's just doing this thing. And the baby starts turning pink and then starts crying, right? And then even then he's like pumping, and he's crying. And then when the baby's like in full cry mode, he just picks up the baby and he just kind of goes, This is the tiniest little smirk, like, save the baby. That's kind of like, when my kid, my son breaks his arm or something like that, and then the women are all running around panicking and what do we do? It's like, okay, let's just calm down. It's just a broken arm. We'll take care of it. Stoicism is a type of eliminating fear. Yeah, but so for me in that situation, there's no fear in that situation because it's not in me. Actually, even when I cut my finger with the table saw, there was no fear. The only panic I had was getting it wrapped. The only panic was I just chopped my finger with the table saw. But then after I washed it in the sink and I poured peroxide on it and I wrapped it with the paper towel, I didn't panic. I wasn't afraid. I was just like, is this going to heal by itself, or do I have to go to the doctor? And my wife made me go to the doctor. I figured I should probably go to the doctor because there might be some stuff in there that wasn't going to heal very well. Me too. I find the more stressful a situation is, the more I'm able to center myself. Kind of a reflection of God. I got you, kid. I used to help care for my cousin's autistic son. He had seizures. Sometimes he'd bang himself up pretty bad and be pretty bloody. I was always calm and just took over for my cousin, caring for her son. I never panicked. Yeah. Eliminating fear does not mean not reacting. It's reacting in a rational way. Well, that's not eliminating fear. That's reacting to fear in a rational way. That's not the same thing, Lou. You still have the fear. You simply control your reaction to it. That's not the same thing as saying you've eliminated fear. You have fear. You react better to it than your average person. That's the significant difference I'm trying to explain to you. No one eliminates fear unless they're a sociopath or a psychopath. You can react to it. You can even train yourself to react to it much better, right? Like soldiers, they have to train themselves not to react to getting shot at. You have to eliminate your reaction. That doesn't mean you're not afraid. You're not afraid of the bullet. You'd be stupid not to be afraid of a bullet going through your head. But you have to control your reaction, particularly your physiological reaction. But also, you have to learn to control your emotions. People can control their emotions. That does not eliminate the actual fear. That just controls the emotions. You're using words wrong, Lou. I do not fear in any way death, pain, sickness, other people, or unpleasant situations. We argue about words way too much. Well, no, because you're making a... forget it. I don't care. You hold on to your definitions. I'm over it. You're right. They're arguing semantics, I guess. While the perception is that sociopaths don't experience fear, research suggests they likely feel fear, albeit potentially in a different way, with reduced intensity compared to non-sociopaths. Atheists fear facts and logic. The key seems to be a reduced capacity to detect and respond automatically to threats, rather than a complete absence of the conscious experience of fear. Yeah, I think that's the thing you have to, if you're trying to overcome a fear, you're overcoming your automatic or autonomic reactions, right? The reactions that you are involuntarily having. So if you can train yourself to overcome your natural reaction, then you have not... You're training the reaction. You're not training the fear. But that's again, that's pointless to argue it at this point. Very late, but here. Congrats on your son's graduation. Oh, yeah. So that wasn't last night. That was a miscommunication. And so I ended up just doing a whatnot stream last night. Question: what is love? Answer: a passion full of martyrdom, misery, grief, and discontent, having pleasures but tempered with pains, and a short delight mixed with a long repentance. Is there anybody here who thinks fear is a good emotion? Yeah, fear is very healthy. What are you talking about? Fear is very healthy. If people who live without fear of things that could kill them, um, they might go out and do stupid things that would kill them. Right? It can keep you alive. It can keep you alert. It can keep you aware. It can keep you from doing stupid things. A man without fear is a fool. A man without fear is a man without. Oh, no, no, no. A man with nothing to lose is a man without fear. I fully recognize things can kill me. I just do not feel okay, Brooklyn. Lou, I'm done. You've made your point, and nobody's going to agree with you. But go, you keep doing you. All right, I'm gonna read through a couple of these because we're run so much out of time. According to Grok, from a theological perspective, the things that atheists fear most: meaninglessness, the absence of a divine purpose, might lead to fears of life lacking ultimate significance, as theology often posits God as the source of meaning. Moral relativism. Without a divine moral framework, some theologians argue atheists fear ethical uncertainty or societal moral decay. That's for sure. That shouldn't, that is something you should, I don't know, if you don't want to use the word fear, um, you should be greatly concerned with the moral decay of a society without God. Death and non-existence. The finality of death without an afterlife may be seen as a source of existential dread. Or you can just live in denial and just pray that you just blink out at the end of your life. Of course, who you're praying to, I have no idea. Cosmic insignificance. The vast, indifferent universe might evoke fears of humanity's irrelevance absent a divine plan. Judgment unconsciously. Some theologians suggest atheists might fear divine judgment despite rejecting belief due to cultural or psychological imprints. Interesting. Isolation. Without a spiritual community or divine presence, theologians might claim atheists fear profound loneliness. Honestly, it's we get real personal here but my mom, she's a Buddhist, which is kind of functionally an atheist. And she just lives by herself, and there's no, here's kind of the thing: if you don't have community, and that's kind of one of the absolute best things about church, right? The fellowship, the community, people sharing beliefs, sharing a worldview, sharing core values, and coming together like at least once a week, to share time, share experience. It's I know other like older people who don't do this, and if they're like retired, they don't have a job, they don't have a spouse, and they don't go out of their way to be like, I'm gonna do something that sticks me in a social group, like like basket weaving, or it's like sometimes you'll get out of the house to try to force a relationship somewhere just because you're so lonely. Or if you're like my mom, you just won't do anything, and then you're just freaking lonely. It's like, so you gotta, it's ever since retiring, right? A lot of people, they hit that retirement age, and their friends have family, right? I mean, obviously my mom has family. I mean, family in the sense that my mom divorced from my dad when I was 15 years old, and she's had a couple boyfriends since. That's none of your business. But I'm just saying, people need people. And it's what's really fun is not fun, funny, not funny, strange. Is like you can get stuck in this the pleasure of solitude for a while, right? And be like, oh no, gosh, I like being alone. I'm tired of all the noise. I'm tired of all the blah blah. I just like sitting there and reading my books and going on walks and being alone. And it's then you can get stuck in that. Actually, I think, was it Tom Hardy said something like that too? But you get stuck in that zone, you end up very, very alone, and eventually it catches up with you, and then you realize alone, it might be good for like a mental vacation or something. Alone is not good as a lifestyle. It's just, Lou, you don't, well, you probably got enough family to, but yeah, it's funny because I see like all these different kinds of people from all these walks of life at church of every age group, and they at the minimum get together and talk to people and make friends at church every week. And there's nothing like that in atheism. Do you have a freaking 12-step program? No, you don't even have that. 12-step program requires that you believe in a higher power. What's the atheist support group, Lou, that allows atheists who grow old without community to get together and share their their depressing lack of hope for their futures? I will say that atheism in and of itself does not make a person mentally stable. That's the truest thing you've ever said on this channel, Lou. Oh man, my stars and garters. Master gardening. All right. Unanswered questions. The inability to fully explain existence or consciousness without a deity could be seen as unsettling, unless you're just in denial, like Lou. Loss of hope. Theologians might argue that rejecting divine hope leads to fears of despair in suffering or crisis. I might argue that that is what leads some people to become atheists. The suffering and crisis they go through, wherein they think God should have answered their prayers one way, and instead it went the wrong way for them, and they lose hope in God, and therefore they lose faith in God, and therefore they get angry at God and reject him and become atheists. That's most atheists I've ever met, who I've known well enough to know the truth of their backstory. And then also going through like popular atheists, I've gone and researched their backgrounds, and almost every single one. Matt Dillahunty, is Matt Dillahunty gay? I've heard people say that he's gay, and that would make sense as well. Like when you're like, God won't get rid of my gay urges, so I don't think there's a God. Chaos and disorder. Without divine order, some might assume atheists fear an unpredictable, uncontrollable world. Well, they should. Without order, I mean, this computer wouldn't work, tell you that. Eternal consequences. Theologically, some posit that atheists might fear being wrong about God, risking eternal separation or punishment. Yeah, I think they stuff it way down deep in that sense. So, he's married to a trans. Okay, so in Dillahunty's case, he started moving away from God while he was in the military, if I remember correctly, his biography. And then at the other end of that, he came out as gay, right? Something like that. So he probably shacked up with somebody and was tempted by the D. Okay, that means he's with a man. That means he's a homosexual. So so he was probably tempted by the D, and God wouldn't take away his lust, and therefore he rejected God, because up until the military it didn't seem like it was. So maybe his bunkmate in the military was giving him a little love that something like that. But he's like, oh no, I never, because he's said that I've never had any devastating psychological torment that made me lose my faith. I just changed my mind. I just saw all these problems and blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, right, dude. Yeah, right. It's necessary. I've seen what happens to people who become isolated. They don't live that long. It's true, but it's easy to revel in it at points. Atheists have no real hope. True. I don't know why they would. Question. What ought we in this life most to remember and least to fear? Answer: the hour of death. What ought we in this life most to remember and least to fear? I don't even understand how that's phrased. If I feared these things, you think atheists fear. It's not me, it's Grok. I would totally say it. I simply do not fear these things, and you can now say you know how all atheists think. I'm not saying it. It was a question I posited to Grok, and this is the answer that Grok gave me. And obviously, it's not ubiquitous. Everybody's going to have their own thing. It's like atheists aren't a dogmatic bunch that everyone thinks the same. I mean, overall, I don't walk around in fear. I have fears, but they do not consume me. Maybe that's what Lou is not differentiating, Mike. Probably, but I'm over trying to figure it out, honestly. My live-in girlfriend is Christian. If she's with you, then she's certainly not abiding the Bible. If she's living with you, she is certainly not abiding the Bible. People can actually respect and love each other regardless of beliefs. Tell that girl to go back to church and get out of your house and live right. If you care about her and her faith, that's what love is. Caring about other people, right? Wanting what's best for the other person. If she's a Christian and you want her to be faithful to her faith, otherwise what you're trying to do is pull her away from her faith, which sounds like you've done adequately by either that or she's just a cultural Christian. No. Don't tell him to marry her. They're unequally yoked. Phil Diaz, do you have a separate YouTube channel? Yes, you're on it. Oh, no, you're not. You're on X. Yeah, I have a cross-examinations channel where I just do Bible study and apologetic stuff. Love has literally nothing to do with dogma. Love, see, here's the thing. You think fear is just an emotion, and you think love is just an emotion. Love is not just an emotion. Love is wanting what is best for someone else. It's not just having the tingles in your soft parts, right? Or otherwise. It's wanting what's best, and it's doing whatever you can to better those you love. We have no reason to get married. We have a great life right now. We have been partners for 8 years now. Well, I'm going to posit that you're her idol. She's put her relationship with you above God for certain, right? Because Brooklyn, Lou, you are a Christian. You know how this works. Be ye not unequally yoked. You are unequally yoking her, which means you don't care what her religion is, and you'd rather her give up her religion, which I don't. Maybe you think that's what's best for her, is her going against her religious beliefs. I think that's psychologically torturous to someone, but whatever. It would be better for them to get married than to live in sin. They're already living in sin. Love is an action, not an emotion, right? It doesn't matter if they're her fornicating with him, living with him, and her being unequally yoked. Those are both wrong. She's a strong, independent woman. She doesn't need me in any way. She's financially secure all by herself. Okay, she's living with you. All right, you know what? You deal with your personal life. Just you come in here and say your fornicating, unequally yoked freaking girlfriend is a Christian. You know, having been grown up in the church and saying you were this great Christian yourself, you know for a fact that she is not living by the dictates of Christianity. So thank goodness she does not think like you do. Yeah, I think I think what the Bible thinks, or I try to. Obviously, your Christian girlfriend doesn't, so she is not a fundy, right? Well, if you're not fundamental about the Bible, then how Christian can you be? So she's a cafeteria Christian. She takes what she likes and ignores what she doesn't. That's your contention. Well, that's not even your contention. That's what you just said. Shacking up is not being faithful, I am told. She's not fundy. And what does the Bible say about people like that? Lou, you know this. Be ye, I would rather ye were hot or cold. But because you are lukewarm and shacking up with Lou, I will spew you. I will vomit you out of my mouth. Tell her Jesus said that, because that's what Jesus said about her. Sorry. Truth hurts, right? I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but that is the truth about what the Bible says about the person you're describing. You can't actively live in sin and pretend that you are being faithful to Jesus. And it's not about being a fundy. It's about being a Christian. All right, let's go to Job. She does not read the Bible very much. She believes in God and Jesus and has since she was a little girl in Colombia. You just answered it, Joe. She doesn't read the Bible very much. She just believes in God. Yeah, well, the devils believe. What good does it do them? Phil Diaz, what do you think of the film The Prince of Egypt? I love The Prince of Egypt. That's such a good movie. It's not 100% accurate, but, you know, it's a cartoon. But, yeah, I love the movie. What do you think about it, Phil? All right, let's get to Job 39, deepest possible reading. Let me see if I can do this in a way where I'm just sort of on the side here. Or down here. That's better. All right. Boom. Let's get this bigger. There we go. Do you know the mountain goat's birthing time, when their young break forth from the womb, or watch over the deer as they travail in labor's pangs? Can you count the months they fulfill, or mark the season when they bear their offspring ushered into life by my unseen hand? They crouch, they birth their young, their pangs released in a rush, their pain yielding to the pulse of new life. Their offspring grow strong, thriving in the open wild. They venture forth never to return, free under my boundless sky. I'm curious. Never mind. I heard something about like nobody's ever seen a baby mountain goat. That's something I heard like decades ago. Like no one's ever seen a baby mountain goat, right? I'm curious, like if people were saying that. Have you ever heard that saying? I've heard that saying when I was younger. I feel like if that was like a colloquialism in the 20th century, how do you figure they know anything about? And that's probably why God's asking here, do you know the mountain goat's birthing time? You know the mountain goats, the ones they like climb up the cliffs and all that stuff. It's like, okay, wow, where do they like live on these cliffs? How do you do that? First of all. Second of all, no one's ever, oh no, maybe what I'm thinking is nobody's ever seen a baby pigeon. No, I think it's mountain goat. Anyways, let's just move on. Their offspring grow strong, thriving in the open wild. They return from who set the wild donkey free, loosed its bonds that it might roam untamed, its spirit unyoked by human reign. I gave it the steppe as its home, the salt flats its dwelling, a realm where no chain can bind its galloping heart. It scorns the city's clamor, unheeding the driver's shout. Its freedom a laugh at a man's feeble rule. The hills are its pasture, ranging wide. It seeks green shoots, each blade a gift of my provision. Will the wild ox bend to your will, consent to serve, or lie tame by your manger's side? Okay, I'll hold on a second. Hold on. I need to double check something. What is this? What are we on? 39? Job 39. Okay, they're using. Okay, this is the one place I don't like Grok. It's translating unicorn as wild ox. Grok! This is a unicorn. Because the ox can't. This is all right. This is a strike against Grok. This is the unicorn. I really enjoyed the film. Watched it on Easter, even though it's not an Easter film. Is this the first time you've seen it? It's not the first time you've seen it, right? I'm going through some heartache myself, so Job would be good counsel. Not this chapter, John. Jesus said, if you want to be perfect, sell your possessions and give it to the poor. Do it, Mike. That's not what that means in context, Tree Goblin. Should we go through that Bible study? Baby mountain goats, also known as kids, are commonly observed in their natural habitats. They are typically born in spring, and they are known to be adept at climbing from a young age. Okay, so maybe it's the pigeon thing. Kind of a weird euphemism. I don't know. Second time. Oh man, I used to watch that pretty often with the kids. Actually, my daughter was just singing. What last time she was here, she kept singing. Um, I don't think it was "Deliver Us." It was one of the other songs. Yeah, she loves that movie too. All right. So strike against Grok for wild ox here. This is unicorn. This is the unicorn because you can tame oxen. Sorry, who would have guessed the unicorn would be the straw that broke Mike? Yeah, right? That irritates me. Mm, dang you, Grok. So yes, this is the unicorn. I mean, this is the unicorn. This is the I don't know if it's just the regular old Asian rhino, possibly, but I think back then it was the woolly rhino because those were much bigger and untamable. And I mean, not that you can tame rhinoceroses, I don't think. You could tell I am irritated by this translation. All right, consent to serve or lie tame by your manger's side. You can get an ox to do that, by the way. Can you bind its neck with ropes? An ox? Yes. A unicorn? No. Yoke it to furrow its valley? An ox? Yes. A unicorn? No. Its strength bowed to your plow's demand. I mean, you yoke oxes all the time. How did you tame oxes? You got wild oxes and you tamed them to be tame oxes. This is so Grok, I am so disappointed in you, Grok. What is wrong with you right now? Do you trust its mighty power? Rely on its force to bear your tasks, its vigor a servant to your need. Do you believe it will return, gathering your harvest, piling grain at your threshing floor like a tamed beast? None of that applies to ox. That only applies, well, not only, but it applies to unicorns. It applies to rhinos. The ostrich flaps her wings in joy, yet her pinions lack the stork's soaring grace. A marvel of my whimsical craft, she leaves her eggs on the earth, warming them in dust, trusting the ground to cradle her hope. She forgets that a foot may crush them, or a wild beast trample. Her carelessness a riddle under my design. She is harsh to her young, as if not hers, her heart unsoftened, her labor void of fear or bond. For I withheld wisdom from her, granted no share of understanding, her strangeness a stroke of my sovereign will. Yet, when she lifts herself to run, she scoffs at the horse and rider, her speed a blur that mocks pursuit. Did you give the horse its strength? Clothe its neck with a mane that ripples like thunder's echo? Do you make it leap like a locust, snorting terror a blast? Its snorting terror a blast, shaking the earth with its charge. It paws the valley, fierce in might, rejoicing in its power, rushing to meet the clash of arms. It laughs at fear, just like Lou. Undaunted, unturned by the sword, its heart a flame no blade can dim. The quiver rattles against it, spear and javelin gleam, yet it surges forward, untouched by dread. With trembling rage it swallows ground, unstilled by trumpet's blast. Its gallop a storm that devours the plain. At the trumpet's call it snorts, ha! Scenting battle from afar. The captain's thunder, oh, the war's fierce cry. Does your wisdom lift the hawk, spreading its wings to the south, soaring on winds I alone command? At your words does the eagle ascend, building its nest on high, a throne in the crags of my creation. It dwells on cliffs, its stronghold secure, perched on jagged peaks, a sentinel of my untamed heights. From there it seeks prey, its eyes piercing afar, spotting life where none but I sustain. Its young gulp blood, where the slain fall, where it gathers a hunter bound to my cycle of life and death. I actually listened to this chapter earlier in the King James. This, other than messing up unicorn, this is so much fuller. So interesting. I really do appreciate this Grok translation. Bible definitely speaks about not doing your own will and that you need to die to yourself. Foundational belief in Christianity. You are not good enough. You are wicked. Mike, according to Bible, you are wicked. Duh. Yes, I agree, of course. You must be redeemed because of your wickedness. True? Yep. Are you going to make an excuse for why your girlfriend lives with you in sin? Bro, just admit that you are trying to draw her away from Christ. You don't want her to be a Christian. You want her to be an atheist like you. That's what you're doing. You don't encourage her to go to church, right? You don't encourage her to do Bible study. You don't say, "Hey, you know what? You're a Christian. You should read your Bible more. You should pray more. You should spend more time with other believers. Iron sharpens iron." You don't do any of that stuff, which would be good for a Christian to do, right? Right? Am I right or am I right? Or am I right? Because I am right. I know I'm right. Freaking unicorns. Someone's gonna clip that. I don't know why. You know what? I'm gonna ask Gronk. The correct translation is not wild ox. It is unicorn. I'm gonna see what Grok says. I definitely do not draw her away from Christianity. And yes, I have gone to church with her. We respect what each other believes. Pretty simple, really. I didn't say you go. I said, do you encourage her? If she's like, I'm not sure if I want to go to church today, are you like, sweet, let's go play putt-putt golf? Or are you like, you really should go to church. It's more important that you follow Jesus than it is that you have a day off. The translation is debated due to its rarity and mythological connotations. All right. Grok is stuck on some nonsense. The Septuagint translates reem into monokeros, literally one-horned, which influenced the Latin Vulgate's unicornus in the King James unicorn. However, monokeros in Greek could refer to a single-horned animal like rhinoceros or aurochs, not necessarily the mythical unicorn of medieval lore. Unicornus is unicorn in Latin. There. As described accurately by Marco Polo. I don't know why I'm debating with Grok right now. Just trying to get it to understand why unicorn is the correct translation. It's simple as she does as she pleases. Imagine that. That's not how partnerships work. That's not how marriages work. That's not how relationships work. You either encourage or discourage people to do things. And when you love them, you encourage them to do what's good for them. Otherwise, you're just roommates. You don't actually care about each other. You're just like, no, do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. I'll do whatever I want. And we'll just happen to cohabitate. That's kind of a ridiculous relationship. Are you kind to her about having Christian beliefs? I'm thinking so, since she still lives with you. Oh, I'm sure he's nice to her, of course. Wow, prolific. What's prolific? Beam lock Ayera. Why should I say follow Jesus if I don't believe in Jesus? Well, that's very accurate. Yeah. Well, actually, I hate the argument that Jesus was just a great moral teacher. while he was a great moral teacher, which I guess is reason enough to follow him, because following him is what gave us Western culture. Western culture, like it or not, is the greatest culture on earth. But following him in the sense of following everything he says, that is a matter of belief. So you've got, on the one hand, you've got the cultural proof and evidence that what Jesus taught leads to better life in general, right? That's Christians across all psychological and sociological parameters live better lives. So if you just want to follow, just call it a rule book for how I should live life as a human being, follow Jesus that way. You don't even have to believe in him, but it will be better for your life. If you mean not believing in him, and therefore why should I listen to anything he has to say, which maybe I'm phrasing that wrong, but believing him to the point that you want to give your life to him and you want to follow him, that's done out of love. That's done out of understanding that he is your God and creator, and that he's your father, and that he wants to give you salvation so that he can be with you forever and ever, because he loves you that much that he would die on a cross, a horrible, horrible, torturous death, and then rise again from the grave to prove everything he said was true. And that's all pretty good reason to follow him, I think. We're over an hour. Two independent people who share love and partnership. Okay, I'm sure you never encourage each other. That's okay, dude. Whatever. I was talking about my Christian girlfriend. Wait, what? Why should I say follow Jesus if I don't believe in Jesus? Oh, you're saying in lose, because that is what's best for. Oh, so you're saying, what if you think what's best for her is becoming an agnostic or an atheist or rejecting Jesus, then you would encourage her to do what you think is best for her. If you're not encouraging your loved one to do, okay, I'm going to put this in quotes, loved one. If you're not encouraging your loved one to do what you think is best for them, then you are not acting in love. Yes, I do. I have a whole, here, let's go to Webtoons for you. Here's some Christian art. Pure Blood asks, do you do any Christian art? I did an entire gospel based on or a wordless gospel called Afar. You can go read. It's up to page 59 right now. I actually did the whole thing, but I'm just uploading them a page a day so that I can try to garner some regular viewers, build up an audience for it. So here's Jesus, my little Jesus. It's like a Calvin and Hobbes style. So there's a demon, and then the demon's trying to scare Jesus, and Jesus just says, "Get out!" And then the demon's all mad. So that's, and then it has the chapter and verse at the bottom here. But there's a whole, there's 59 of them here now available. There's 180 pages total that I've done. I'm thinking about maybe adding some more stuff. It's the Gospels from the 4 different books, like all kind of put together. So here's the demon in synagogue getting all, rah. So it's all told without words so that anybody on earth of any language can understand the gospel message. So that's that. All right. I encourage her to be happy and the best person. I do not rule over her. I'm not saying you rule over her. I genuinely don't think following Jesus is the best for her, especially the Jesus of the modern church, tool of political and cultural power. Anyway, thanks for responding to me nicely. Of course, anytime. Yeah, just tell her to read the Bible and get her to read the Bible, or encourage her, not tell her, right? Because you don't rule over her, right? So just encourage her to do what is in her faith, right? To fulfill her in what she believes, or whatever. Getting all demony. Yeah, that's it, guys. I'm late, so thanks everybody for being here. God bless you all. Join us in the Discord if you want to continue further conversation. And yeah, do check out Afar. I did put the link here. I'm going to put the link again so you can checkmark that, bookmark that, check them out as they come out. I got to upload some new ones today anyway. So God bless you. Just wondering why I should fear Job 39. Oh, that's actually, yeah, that's a misunderstanding of my title. All right. God bless everybody. We'll see you on the next exciting episode of Cross Examinations.